Hello, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today. The hurricane is coming. On today's show, we have Dr. Huebner for the entire show. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. Get ready.
We're turning the tables, rewriting the rules, letting the world know that success is not reserved for the privileged few. Every dreamer, every believer, every fighter has a chance to rise above. Together, we will find your path and change your future. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, at Meridian Community College, you are worth it. Now is your time. Find your wings.
And we are here with Dr. Huebner. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you, Lowell.
President of Meridian Community College
Right.
for, is this 5, 6?
I know, believe it or not, I just finished my 5th year,
Yes.
and I'm starting year number 6. And it still seems like it was yesterday.
In many ways it does. You just have to stop and go, wait. This has been a while.
I know.
I've been wanting you on the show. I like to have you on at the end of the year, so we're kind of back in the middle of the end of the year and beginning of the new year, just to kind of talk about how you think we've done over this past year.
Yeah.
You know, with this past school year. How do you think things have gone for us?
Well, you know, it's been a really good year. We have, so at the end of a year, as I'm thinking about talking with the faculty and staff at our end of the year celebration, I start to kind of review the items, the things we've completed, the things we're working on, where those things are, and that time of kind of just writing things down and reflecting on where we are is pretty amazing, because I realize over a period of time we've really accomplished a lot in the course of a year. And the environment, by what I mean environment, I mean the social, political, geo environment is just still different and odd and requires mobility and flexibility. But I really am so pleased that here at the college we've adapted, sometimes painfully, but we've adapted.
Sometimes kicking and screaming.
Sometimes kicking and screaming, and that's just me, you know. But been able to try to figure out how to navigate the new world, as I like to say. And so it's like expectations. It feels like they've changed overnight in some ways, and there's a political kind of dimension to the value of higher education that has kind of been in the wings before, but now it's becoming a forefront in the conversation nationally. I'm not talking about here locally, but nationally, and you have to think that has created a whole different set of conversations that we probably wouldn't have had a few years ago, and that's then caused us to rethink processes, how we do things, what we need to be doing versus what we are, and change is difficult, but folks have embraced it, and as an institution, that's one of the things that I think I'm most proud of, is the willingness of the people here to adapt to whatever the need happens to be in the immediate future, but then also the ability to think about what those needs are going to look like over a long term.
Do you think that, because I've always thought it was one of our strengths, even though some people don't think that way, but because of our size, that we're nimble enough on our feet. We have to be.
Yeah.
And I really do think that's one of our great strengths here.
Yeah, I do too. I know, absolutely. I think it's more difficult if you're, like a large university or something of that nature. I think it becomes a harder ship to turn. But I also think we have the capacity, because of that being one factor, to be able to adapt in the ways we need to fairly quickly. And again, I don't know that any of us can think, we don't have to think too hard to remember what it was like, going through COVID, and then kind of just observing what's stuck and, you know, what's needed to be, what's been forgotten and what's become the permanent part of the landscape. And then there are parts of transitioning from COVID to whatever this is. I'm not using the word normal yet, but parts of that transitioning that are, I think, still in fluctuation. I think that we don't really know. Like, for example, and I have feelings about things that, you know, you might read national news media that talk about, you know, remote learning and that sort of thing. And I think that's always going to be a part, but I also think it's probably not going to be as strong of a part as we probably thought it was maybe, you know, 2.5 years ago. I think we're discovering, and people are discovering, that the human interaction is really important. And I only talk about that because that is a kind of this transition that institutions are going through, including MCC. So how do you, for example, engage students in the ways in which they need to be engaged with, you know, this tool and that tool and, you know, the other tool. And so, and I think it's given us a broader perspective of the value of what we do and how we do what we do, and how we can use those tools to meet the needs of our students, but not forget the important things either.
And I really do think that we've become better at, and I don't mean this, you know, as grade-wise or anything like that, but being okay with failure. And what I mean with that is, you know, because there have been a number of things we've tried and we're like, okay,
that's not going to work. Not what we need to do. That's right.
And there was I'm with you with a couple of years ago, I was thinking, man, we're never going to have in-class classes anymore.
But now
we're never going to. But we find the students coming back and saying, "No,
we need this."
Yes, I've got to have that person here to talk to and to.
Not that but not that there aren't ways we are continually working to improve how we do the online or remote learning environment. But at the same time, it can't be all or, you know, one or the other. It has to be all, you know, and so I think that's been positive. And I said, so I'm thinking about some of our efforts in the last year in particular, and for example, we engaged with Achieving the Dream, and so that's been a pretty awesome process, and that group's just now getting to the plans of action, and so what are we going to do and how are we going to get there? And it's all really, it's really helpful, and it's reasonable, and it's practical, and it meets the needs of our institution, and that team's done a great job with it. And so that's the sort of thing that I look for some long-term impact because of the decision we made to just think about our community and our students and collect data we may not have collected otherwise, and begin to put together a plan of action that will help us to address needs right here in our community with our student population. That's just one example, but
listen, we're at a break. I want to stop for just a moment, and we will be right back on the other side.
Perfect.
We'll be right back.
MCC costs less and gives you more. Are you ready to jumpstart your career but don't have the time for a traditional 4-year degree? Meridian Community College can have you workforce ready in as little as 1 semester. We have workforce programs ranging from 1 semester to 2 years with experienced instructors and hands-on training that will help you gain the skills you need to succeed and start earning a paycheck sooner. Find your wings at Meridian Community College.
And we are back. Now, we had stopped previously with the Achieve the Dream and some of the stuff that we're looking for. And I'll be honest with you, when we first started that, and it was like very quickly heard about it, ended up going to North Carolina to get a huge amount of information. And there are still moments where you're sitting there and you're talking to some of our coaches. We have coaches with this. And they are very good, diligent coaches.
They're outstanding.
They're very,
they really are.
And I'm with you here. You know, it's like it's so exciting to actually get the data and go, okay, this is working. This is not.
This is not.
What
That's
can we
right.
do
Yeah.
to get these students
That's right.
where they need to be? And I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And this is, for me, it's almost the first time that we've really started doing some of this.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting.
Well, and if I could get just philosophical for a quick second, and yes, I mean, and part of it is because we're adapting to the changing nature of the student population. Like, you know, I tell people, the average student age here is 26.2.
Yes.
A number of different factors have meant that the traditional student population is not as large as it was in the past, perhaps, and so we're having to figure out how to embrace different kinds of students at different stages in their lives, and sometimes that's just not as it's not as neat as we'd like for it to be, and so. And then add on top of that some of the other kinds of challenges that I talked about that I'm just calling socio-geopolitical, whatever challenges. And now you're really having to evaluate, you know, how we do what we do, and is there a better way, and is, you know, what's sacred, what's not sacred, what are the conversations that are good to have, and what are the ways in which we need to adapt. And so those are all good things for an institution.
And I think it comes where it's one of those where we have to look at what are we really here to do.
That's right. Yeah.
What is our mission here? And I think we've all agreed. You know, we want to make the community, we want to make people's lives better.
That's right.
How do we do that?
Well, no, and we all, if you work at at Meridian Community College, you know a story of a student who came here with, I don't know, certain set of challenges, certain set of expectations, and because of people and experiences and doors that get opened and opportunities, they leave a different kind of person in a positive way. And so, and then that transformation then goes back to family and, you know, immediate family and extended family and community. And the impact is huge, and those aren't just talking points. I mean, we know examples of where this happens.
Yes.
And then I think the other thing is that when you see it work, then if you're in this kind of learning environment and you see it work, then you should want it to work for others. Does that make sense? Right? So that it's not just happenstance, or it's not just that student ended up forming a mentoring relationship with Lowell, and next thing you know, whatever. How do we facilitate that?
Yes.
How do we facilitate that versus it just happening by chance, which is great when that happens too, but how do you facilitate that so that the safety net for our students is stronger and I don't know what the word is, harder to fall through. So that's huge, and it really goes to our core, as you said, our mission, and as I've said multiple times since we went through COVID in particular, that all of this has challenged people's commitment to the mission.
Yes.
It has. Yes. So if this isn't what you were born to do or created to be, then that's okay, by the way. It's tough work. It's really, really hard work, and so we've seen that, and I'm so grateful. I just know, stories from faculty members who have been challenged by some of these situations, but they've done such a fantastic job. They really have. And
I say this, and I have said it my entire career here. This is, in my mind, not only the best community college in the state, but the nation.
No, there's no doubt.
This hands down.
Right. Yeah.
This is it. To come to a place that cares about you, that wants you to do well, and I think all the stuff that we're doing now, and it is a beginning. We're just past the beginning.
Sure.
But you can. There's so much that I'm in my head going, this is going to be good.
That's right. It's
good.
positive.
This is going to be changing just the community. I was speaking to the head of the truck driving program, and we were talking about the 8-week program and just having that job and going out and how that's going to affect the family and the same thing with the nursing and the same thing with and trying to get more of that occur. Oh my gosh.
Okay, and I've shared this story. I was so Dr. Skaggs many decades ago had the foresight to create an endowment with the purpose of bringing the world to Meridian and taking Meridian to the world. So we engaged with an organization called Transatlantic Business Investment Corporation, which is located in Berlin, Germany. And the purpose of TBIC is to facilitate foreign direct investment from Germany and Western Europe into the United States. So one of the challenges they were having is that these companies wanted to relocate to the United States, and they didn't have a sense of confidence about the training programs for their potential employees. And so they engaged in a process whereby they will come in and evaluate your programs in particular areas, and then give you a grade or a score regarding how closely you match up with what would be German and Western European manufacturing standards. So we said, sign us up, let's see how that goes. And so they did, and we correlated very, very highly with those standards. So we've received certification from TBIC, one of a few community colleges in the United States to engage in this process and receive this certification. In fact, I've been asked just this morning to go to their national meeting in Atlanta and facilitate a panel discussion with folks about the process. But nonetheless, and then a group of us got to go to Berlin. And so the best thing about it was we met with government officials, educational officials. I'm talking nationally. We toured a tech university, which was unbelievable. I don't know how else to say it. It was beautiful and interesting and
Their
fascinating.
apprenticeship programs and the way they've got it set up is absolutely amazing.
Oh no, so we learned about the apprenticeship program, the apprenticeship model, which we've known about, but to be able to see it. And we met with industry folks, industry leaders, and all of that to say, one of the things we learned, and we took some of our instructors there, one of the things we learned was the quality a student gets here is awesome. I mean, it matches up wonderfully with the things we're seeing at the best training places in the world, in Germany. And I mean, it was so affirming and encouraging. And in those conversations with the leadership in Berlin, they wanted to know about how we're addressing the challenges associated with workforce gaps, for example. So that's just one example. And we tend to think of ourselves as being, Little Meridian Community College and our little community and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think people understand what you just said a few minutes ago about our ability to do what we do and do it well, and to embrace our students and create opportunities for our students rivals anyone. And they will often come and look at some of our programs and say, how do you do that? I mean, and they'll have facilities that cost 3 times more and do whatever, but we're producing at levels that are so that's encouraging and supportive to me. We can't talk about the year without talking about we've spent a lot of time and resources into trying to improve our facilities on campus. That continues. We've had one of the best athletic years, we think, in the history of the institution. We had multiple teams finish in the top 20 nationally.
Excuse me.
Oh,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry.
Are you going to make it?
I don't know.
We started.
This is how Les Mis started.
Oh yeah. We started what we call Eagles Leadership Convocation, which is a leadership program here at the college, and our first group went through that, and they came up with a fantastic idea that we're in the process of implementing, which is in dealing with employee onboarding, and it's just so practical, and it's so positive, and it's so affirming. So that group has done a fantastic job and is getting ready to start year 2. So I mean, so many wonderful things.
I want to take one more break
Yeah.
and we'll pick this up again.
Perfect.
We'll be right back.
Thank you to the teachers for encouraging me when I wasn't sure where to start, for seeing my potential even when I didn't, for inspiring me to reach farther and try harder.
Thank you, MCC. You helped me change my future.
Find your wings at MCC.
And we are back. We were talking about it just in general terms, but before we get too far in, I wanted to, let's talk about, what we've done on campus.
Sure.
You had said, because there's a lot of construction going on.
Oh, my word, yeah.
And
So-
this place is over here now, and this place is over
Yeah.
here. It's like, which will change soon, hopefully, and things will get back to normal. But what kind of stuff have we had going on?
Yeah, so 1,000 things. I like to build things around philosophical ideas. Like, so the building we're in right now, for example, the top floor used to be thought of as the library.
Yep.
And it's still the library. And I think at some point maybe in higher ed people changed the word from library to learning resources or something like that. So, and that's great. And so we still have the Library Learning Resource Center. But what I also wanted was for there to be a place that became the hub of learning support. So it would include learning resources, it would include tutoring, and it would include advising with a different approach to advising that was very hands-on and less what classes are you taking and more tell me how you are, more let me help you, figure out how to, navigate the challenges of life. And so we have moved advising to this building, or will be moving advising to this building, to our tutoring and our student support and retention services to this building. And when we just did a complete, I'm going to use the word facelift, but that's less than what it was. I mean, it's a pretty substantial. More extensive than a facelift.
This was a body lift.
This was a body lift, that's right. And so we're in the final stages of they're finishing that, and I think within the next couple of weeks we'll be able to officially start moving back. And Christy up there has got library books, and she's got them organized and looking sharp. But and so that process has been going on for I think probably a couple of months, but of getting the books back in. But then the rest of the facility is going to come to life here in the fall for sure. I mean, when our students arrive. So, but that again is built around a different way of thinking about what our responsibility is, what our role would be to help students be successful. So it's not just we're here if you need us. It can't be that way anymore. It has to be you may not even know you need us, and we're going to help find and provide you the support.
And people aren't in their own bubbles.
Right, that's right.
We're able to be, and I love all the people that I will be working with in there, and get along very well with them. But I'm very excited about this whole new process.
Yeah.
When an advisor can come and say, "Look, I know that you've been missing, and you need a little bit of help with this. Come on, let's go.
Come on, let's walk just over there."
Yes,
right.
And find someone to help.
And then having the resources and the tools associated with the library there to help facilitate learning for that student. And I don't know, it's built on a philosophy and a different way of thinking, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's taken a while, and we've had a few setbacks, but we are moving forward with that, and I'm just pumped about it. It's exciting, and being able to open. What started a while back with a desire on my part to make our restrooms accessible, one at a time on campus, ended up leading to a renovation of Hardin Hall that's going to be open. Actually, some folks are moving in, I think probably today or tomorrow, because we couldn't make them accessible unless we made them bigger. And so, and then we had the same situation at Reed Hall. So, well, dadgum, while we're here, we might as well X, Y, and Z, change, the HVAC was on its last dying leg, and instead of pumping money into it every year, what can we replace it? So we replaced it. And so we've been doing that process in Reed Hall, and it's had a facelift as well, and is just on the verge of being finished as well. And with large accessible restrooms and renovated space for folks. And so in the whole scheme of things, not that much money, because you're talking about paint and flooring. Now the bathrooms or restrooms are much larger and require more resources, but those are just some examples, and we're just trying to get building by building to try to update the campus and make it really what our students deserve and what our faculty and staff deserve in terms of a learning environment. Smith Hall right now is getting new HVAC and ceilings, and we aren't.
I think they were redoing the floors in Ivy upstairs, second floor.
Just
painting
lots,
or something.
Yeah,
stuff
lots of
going
different.
on.
Name some spot.
We're
on
going to be
campus.
ready. We're going to be ready
We
for
are
the students
trying.
when they come.
We're working hard to do that and do it within our budget and our resources, and so we've been good stewards of our resources. So I'm pleased we can do that, and we've had some federal dollars that have come in and some special dollars for this sort of thing. So it's been really good.
How's everything looking on the new softball tennis?
We have
complex?
I should have known the dates off the top of my head, but we shifted that from internally funding it to using state bond money to fund it, which is also our money, but just has different rules about how it can be spent and the processes. So that set us behind a little bit, but we're been moving forward for many months aggressively. Saw some what I call minute detail, last minute design thoughts that from the architects this morning, actually, and so they're in the process of putting together what they call construction documents. And so when that's done, then it'll go to bid, and we're hoping that it will start construction in August.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and it'll take about 9 or 10 months to finish. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
Oh no, I mean you should see the pictures. I'm excited to share those with people when it's the time. And I have to tell you, like, we're getting ready to start. The Phil Hardin Foundation has been so generous to this institution. We're in the process. Dr. Hill, Leah Hill, is our VP for Institutional Advancement and has been working very diligently on all the stuff that has to take place before you can launch a campaign. And she would like to see, and we would like to see, tuition guarantee endowed. But the Phil Hardin Foundation led with a $2 million gift. I mean, how incredible is that? And
Yes,
so
that's
one of the other
amazing.
things they did, though, is that they are the namesake of the Phil Hardin Honors College. So they have committed resources to renovating part of the first floor of this building. It's going to transform the exterior of the back of this building, and then the space and the hallways is going to give us just a top-notch honors college facility to match with our instructors.
That's going to be amazing.
Morgan and Candace, who do a fantastic job, and our
They do.
students. And so it's just I could go on.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
I just got the wrap up from the. But
I have to
just
show
wanna-
my jacket.
Yes, this amazing jacket. But I want to thank you for being on the show. I do want to have you on again and
Please.
update some of the
Yeah.
stuff that we're doing, because
Anytime.
there's a lot of really amazing things happening.
When I do this, I always neglect really important things. So any chance I can come share, I'm happy to.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Lo.
We'll be right back.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
On behalf of the executive producers Matt Milner and Tanisha Clark, media mogul Josh Taylor, and me, hope you learned a little bit. See you next week.